So, good afternoon to each and everyone. So, the assigned topic that was given to us is the contemporary period. So, before I started to discuss, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Carl Graven C. Sausa. So, the contemporary period. Contemporary period is the Filipino literary contemporary period began in the 1960s and flourished after the martial law ended in the 1986. So, the contemporary in the late 1960s is called the contemporary arts in the Philippines. It marks the departure from classical forms and emergence of new artistic movements. So, these are the period under the contemporary period. So, first is the period of activism from 1970 to 1972. The second one is the period of the New Society from 1972 to 1980. The third one is the period of the Third Republic from 1981 to 1985. And the fourth one is the period from 1986 to 1999. And the last one is the 21st century up to the present. So, let's discuss the first period, the period of activism from 1970 to 1972. Between 1970 and 1972, youth activism was motivated by domestic and international problems because of society's faults. Youngsters are motivated to seek improvements in the expression of this desire for change. Keen were the writings of some youth who were fired from the nationalism in order to emphasize the importance of their petition. So during this period, most of the youth wants to change or to change or to improve the government. So dito marami ang mga nag-protest, gumawa ng one revolution due to desire of the change in the government. So during this period, the literary revolution, the youth were what I've just said, the youth became rebellious during this period. Campus newspapers showed religious emotion. They held pens and wrote on placards in red paint the equivalent of the word makibaka or to dare. So if you remembered or makita nyo sa mga nakaraan ng mga news, yung pag-protest ng mga mostly students na pagpakita nila ng mga emotion nila para sa mga kabaguhan ng government. So ginawa nila ito. During the protest, they wrote up on a placard in red paint using with the word makibaka or to dare. So during this period, during this period in the activism, the writing is this irrelevance towards the poor reached its peak during this period of the mass revolution. It was also during this period of the bomba films that discredited our ways as Filipinos started to come out. So the next one is the period of the New Society, from 1972 to 1980. Then the period of the New Society started on September 21, 1972. The Carlos Blanca Awards continued to give annual rewards. The government participated in the revival of classic plays such as The Sinacolo, Zarzuela, and the Embayoka of the Muslims. So the period of the New Society, its shift towards the nation-building themes and literature of culture. Then, the government established new oversights of publication and rebuilt cultural centers. Notable works produced focus on issues like family planning, nutrition, and the environment. And then, the next one is the poetry during the period of the New Society. Most poems deals with patience, respects, culture, customs, and the beauty of the nature and surroundings. So, this includes the radio and television, Filipino films, comics, magazine, and other publications. So, the radio and television, continued to patronize during this period. Displays the series like Simatar, Dahlia, Ito Ang Palad Ko, and Mr. Lonely, because they were the only forms of recreation of those without television. The second is the Filipino films. Filipino films, Year of Festa of Pelikulang Pilipino, or the yearly Filipino Film Festival was held during this time. During the festival, which lasted usually for a month. Only Filipinos films were shown in the theaters in Metro Manila. These are the Maynila sa mga kuko ng liwanag, written by Edgardo Reyes. The second one is the Minsay Isang Gamo-Gamo by Nora Honor. The third one is the Ganto Kami Noon, Paano Kami Ngayon, led by Christopher De Leon and Gloria Diaz. And the fourth one is the Insiang by Hilda Coronel. And the fifth one is the Aguila, which led by the actor Fernando Po Jr. Then, the comics, magazine, and the other publication. During this period of the new society, newspapers donned new forms, news, economic progress, discipline, culture, tourism, unlike with the favored more than the sensitization, reporting of killings, rape, and robberies. And the third one is the period of the Third Republic from 1981, which is being reported by Mr. Ferrell.
Period of the Third Republic, 1981-1985. After 10 years of military role, some changed lives of Filipino. It started under the new society martial role. So, on January 2, 1981, to those in the government, the lifting of the military role heralded a chance to their perception, and the Philippines become a new nation. And this former President Marcos called the new Republic of the Philippines a historical called it as a Third Republic. The first republic he claimed was during the Philippines Republic of Emilio Aguinaldo, when he first got our independence from the Spaniards in June 12, 1898. The second was when the American granted us our independence in July 4, 1946. Now, this period beginning January 2, 1981 was the Return Republic, when we were free from military rule. So next is the Filipino poetry. So this period, poem were romantic and revolution writers wrote openly about the criticism of the government. People were taught, curious, angry, colorful, violent, profane, and insulting language in the prayers. So next is the Filipino song. So sa Filipino song is si Corita and Eric and Freddy Aguilar. Si Corita and Eric composed a song titled is Laban ng Bayan Ko. And this was first sung by Corita during the National Unification Conference of the Opposition in March 1985. This was also sung during the presidential campaign movement for Cory Aquino in March 1985. This was also sung during the presidential campaign movement for Cory Aquino to inspire the movement against Marcos in February 1986. Freddy Aguilar revived the song Bayan Ko, which was written by Jose Corazon de Jesus and C.D. Guzman during the American period. So next is the period 1986-1999. In the span of 4 days from February 21 to 25, 1986, the so-called people power, lakas ng bayan, prevailed. Together the people boycotted the street, petitioning the government for change, and reformed Philippine society was in a turmoil for a few weeks, but the rejoicing after President Marcos was toppled from power euphoria. Next is the newspaper and other publication. Newspaper which were once branded newspaper and other publication. Newspaper which were once branded crony newspaper become instant opposition paper. This was through Bulletin Today, which became opposition paper, the Inquirer, Malaya, and the People Journal. So next is the 21st century to present. 21st century literature is a new literary work. It was created in the last decade. It has imaginative writing, deals with current issues, and reflect technology, culture frequently. deviates from traditional writing and treats artistic representation of shared and familiar experience. Amo lang, sir.